folks, welcome to another BGE board game summary for November 2017. I'm Jason and I'll be your host. So we've got lots to go through this month. Loads of games being played, loads of games being reviewed and previewed, some competitions won, some new announcements. Let's get into it. Alright, so before we get to the board games, let's talk about a couple of announcements. First of all, if you're not a member yet, please go check out our Facebook page, Board Game Exposure Collective. I'll put a link in the show notes below, or the description notes, so you can go just click on the show notes and then it'll take you straight to the Facebook page, because we have a nice growing community there, and we do competitions and all sorts of interesting stuff. Every Sunday we post up our favorite Kickstarter links, so the whole group gets to choose one and stick it up there. Those are really fun to check out. We've got loads of other reviewers and companies posting up their games on there. Lots of things to talk about. So it's a really good community. Talking about competitions, we had a couple of competition winners for the month of November. The Ironclad board game giveaway was won by Brendan Taylor. Well done, buddy. And the Full Moon Jacket competition was won by... I'm going to mess this up. Dijana Lacus. I think that's right. So yeah, those are the competitions we ran for last month. We'll probably have some more in the future, so please keep checking it on the Facebook page. And a couple of other announcements to make. Martin Poole has resigned from reviewing games, because he's got a job now with Thundergriff Games, but he's still going to be involved with the BGE. He'll be promoting and previewing games as such. But we have got a few more people in the loop to add content to the group. So we've got Amy and Fiona Dickinson. They do the Game Shelf reviews, written reviews on Zatu, and they have their own Facebook page, which I'll put links to all this stuff in the description notes below. We also have Ian McAllister, who does the Giant Brain, also written reviews on there. And then Chris Fagan and Lindsay Fagan, married couple, do behind the box video reviews on YouTube. So welcome guys, thanks for joining, and keep a lookout for their reviews. Okay, so it is obviously the end of the year is rushing towards us at the moment. So we've got one more month left before the end of the year, and for December we get a lot more of those top 10 lists and stuff out, so you can keep a lookout for those. I'll be doing one with Martin as usual, where we do the top 5 games that we played for the first time this year. I'll be doing my top 5 Kickstarter previews. On my Battle Knights channel, which is a separate channel, I'll be doing my top 5 miniature war games. So while we're talking about what games are what my top 10 lists, we'll also have a talk about what games I've reviewed this month and previewed and so on. So we'll get straight into that. Let's go. So I did quite a few of the Essen pre-releases or releases this month. Started off with Altiplano, which is a bag building game, which is made by the same designer who made Orleans. We did a review of that. Mixed feelings over there, so you can go check that one out. We also did Roadhog, which is an interesting game. It's a very heavy take that game where you're driving through traffic and you're trying to get through the traffic. But if you don't like take that, that's fine. But still, you should check it out because I think it's quite fun. And going into the game knowing that it's going to be take that should be okay. We did a couple of Kickstarter previews. One for D-Day Dice from Wordforge Games. That's on Kickstarter now, and I think it's got about 24 hours to go when this video is published. Tons and tons of content have been unlocked for this already because there's so many good things about this game. So go check that out if you want to jump on board on that. Full Moon Jacket, which has just finished on Kickstarter. They'd funded, and it will come into retail hopefully soon. But you might be able to jump on the late pledge manager there. Nice werewolf Vietnam game where you kind of like Zombicide, where you're trying to survive and complete missions and so on. We also did Goblins Kickstarter preview with a bunch of goblins eating all kinds of crazy stuff. We pretty much did a full game of that, so you can check it out. It's a nice quick card game. We also did a review for Pioneer Days. That was excellent. Really good game. Sort of dice drafting game where you're in the Pioneer Days filling up your wagon with goods to transport to towns. It was really good. Really enjoyed that. We also played Montana. That's interesting because that was a full retail copy for Europe, but the Kickstarter version for the North American version is on Kickstarter at the moment, and they're doing a deluxe version, so there's lots of upgraded goodies in there. And we also did Summit the board game. That was more of a first impressions video. Well, you can go check that out and see why. So that's all the videos I did for this month. I got down 8, and it's a decent amount. But if we move on to, say, Mark from More Hitex Reviews, and you'll see that pales in comparison to what the machine does. So, let's get started with what he did. He did a Game of Things. I'm not familiar with this game, but if you can go check out his review, I can give you more information on that. He also did the Kickstarter preview for D-Day Dice. He also did a Kickstarter preview for Heroes of History, which is finished on Kickstarter. It's funded as well, a little historical card game. And then he did a Kickstarter preview for Arena the Contest. Now, I believe Arena, I've actually got the copy in here, and I'm going to be doing one as well. It hasn't come to Kickstarter yet, but it's a sort of a dungeon style adventure game. But you can also do PvP, so you both pick teams and then fight against each other, or you fight against the mission, which is interesting and has some really interesting miniatures, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Then he finished off his Stonewire focus, which was Scythe. That was the last game that he needed to do for that. And he also did a game called Folded Space. You know, look at all the links over here. And then he did Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition Suppressed Memories expansion. Now, I need to go check that out as well because I'm a massive fan of Mansions of Madness. I've not played the 2nd edition yet with the app. I've always been, you know, a one versus many kind of guy, so I need to go try that out. And then his favorite game of the month was Mombasa, and I've not played that yet either, so based on that I should really get that to the table. He did another Kickstarter preview for Dawn of the Peacemakers, and I think when this video goes up it should still be on Kickstarter, but right down to the last couple of hours. Really interesting looking game, where you, instead of, you know, trying to control the map, you're the sort of the negotiator of peace in between two warring factions of anthropomorphic animals. Really interesting idea, and I really like the look of it. And then we started off with the Game of 49 and the Game of 49, and he's also done Asking for Troubles, and these are all going to be passed around soon, so you'll see a lot more reviews of these games from Breaking Games. So that's Mark. Shall we have a look what Nick's done?
Hello, welcome to the monthly update. This is what we've looked at Board Deck and Dice for the BGE Collective. There's quite a lot, so I'm going to go through them relatively speedily. I had a look at the Sheriff of Nottingham and its expansions. I really like the Sheriff of Nottingham as a bluffing deception game, and the expansion is well worth a purchase if you like the base game. It adds 6 players, it adds laws, it adds merry men. All these things are modular, so you can just add the ones you like. There's a lot of content for the price of entry there. I had a look at Portal's Alien Artifacts. Again, I really liked Alien Artifacts. It is it's not a 4X game, it's an engine building game, very similar in kind of style and concepts to 51st State. However, it is more accessible than 51st State, yet probably there's not as much potential for combos and you don't need to think as carefully about some of your decisions, I would argue. I had a look at the lovely little City Park, which was a lovely little Kickstarter, great family weight game, very simple, very quick, but enough decisions there to be enjoyable. Let down a little bit by some of the artwork, but unfortunately that one didn't fund. Had a look at Battle Goats, which is a charming 2-player battle game where you lay out a grid of 9 cards that you've chosen face down, and then you're revealing one and attacking, or just attacking if you've already got one revealed. Very simple, but good fun. Had a look at Goblin Goblins, which is funded on Kickstarter, a very take-that card game with a kind of funny theme. If you like juvenile toilet humour, it's going to go down very well, as it did with my son, but also good for groups of about 6. Full Moon Jacket is a miniature survival game set in Vietnam with werewolves. Cooperative, and just a lot of fun fighting the rising odds. Euphoria was my... Yes, I did just suppress a burp. Those keen-eyed viewers will have spotted Before here was the last of the Stonemaier games that I looked at. Probably my least favourite of the ones I looked at, but this is Stonemaier, so that is not saying much. This is still an excellent game of dice placement. I really like the way the dice placement works and how that affects your knowledge. Set in this dystopian future where you're trying to rule over or trying to influence as many factions as you can. A bit more difficult to get new guys to play this because of the noise on the board. There's a lot of noise, but once you break it down into the 3 sections are basically the same, it's good to go. Mystic Scrolls is a fast rolling dice game where you're just rolling dice as fast as you can to score combos to fire off spells on your card. Yeah, nothing new, but a lot of fun, and the theme actually works really well. You're trainee wizards running around a library trying to learn spells. Word Slam is a team game from Cosmos where you're trying to get your team to guess a word, a bit like a cross between Codenames and Articulate or Taboo, something like that, but you're using word cards to do so. You're not speaking, so you're putting various words out as quick as you can. I really like that one a lot. Monster Trap is a family game from Cosmos where you're using these bars to push a monster around a maze and get it in. A really nice semi-cooperative idea there where you're out for yourself, but you work with someone else on all your goes. You work the person left to you, then the person right to you, and you get separate score piles with each of those people. Kapow, excellent dice crafting game that's funded, thank goodness, on Kickstarter. A bit like Dice Forge with the dice, except you're using these dice all the time. You're trying to attack another superhero with combos on a sheet that you've got in front of you, and the nice thing is that blank dice have value. Lastly, 2 Breaking Games games. The Game of 49 is like Connect 4 with bidding, and it works really well despite how it looks. It does look cheap and mass market, but it plays really nicely. Not amazing, but I have a lot of fun in that. I play it anytime. And lastly, Asking for Trobills, a good game that unfortunately I was disappointed with because of my level of expectation coming into play it. I thought it would be a bit more meaty than it was. As it is, it's a great game for teaching worker placement concepts, but there is only really one route to victory, and you're all going to be following that same route. And that left me, after playing particularly the Stonemaier worker placement games that I've been playing recently, Russian Railroads, other worker placement games, that left me a little disappointed and underwhelmed, but I will play it as long as my son wants to. So still a good game, but because of expectations, I was a little bit disappointed on that. That's it from me, and I think I'm in under time, so I'm just going to disappear in a poof of smoke. Jason, you didn't pay the effects man, did you? Thanks. Now I look like an idiot.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Good video as usual. And we still have Lindsay from Shiny Happy Meeples. So let's have a look what Lindsay's done.
Hi there, it's Lindsay here. I'm going to do a little summary of games that I played this month for Board Game Exposure. I'll start off with Dawn of Peacemakers, which I no longer have in my possession as I passed it on. Dawn of Peacemakers is published by Snowdale Design. It ended on Kickstarter yesterday and it funded. It had a really high funding goal and I'm really pleased that it made it. There's loads of stuff for this game, loads of miniatures, it's a war game, it's a co-op campaign game. I only played a few scenarios and played Skirmish, which is like, you know, competitive. There was loads more to it, so I kind of only scratched the surface of it, but I wrote out my initial thoughts in it on my blog, Shiny Happy Meeples. So go on my blog if you want to have a look and find out more. Might not be too late to put in a last minute post-campaign pledge. Secondly, I finally played Sakatsu. This is a really lovely abstract game published by IDW Games. I did a video on this on my channel if you want to find out a little bit more about how to play and my thoughts on it, but I will say that it's a very chilled, very lovely abstract game, and it doesn't make your head go either. It's just really nice. I really enjoyed Viral. Played quite a few games of this. I wrote a review of it on my blog, and I don't know, something about it just clicked with me. It wasn't at all what I was expecting. It's kind of like an area control game, and almost like a war game, but it's kind of like war in the body. You know, your virus is spreading and it wants to take over, and you're trying to beat the other viruses, and also you're kind of balancing the fact that you want to score as many points as possible for the different organs, but you don't want to be cured too many times because then you kind of lose your points. So there's loads to viral, but it's very kind of simple to play, but quite a lot of complex thinking, decision making, really clever hand management, you know. It's got a lot of punch to it. I love the artwork as well. It's kind of like creepy, gross out cute. Really enjoyed it. Another game which I was surprised by, as in I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, was Kapow. This finished on Kickstarter the other week. It's a dice game. You're kind of manipulating your dice to do different combat moves. 2-player, one of you's the baddie, one of you's the hero, and it's just fighting, but with dice, just a lot of dice chucking, and it's not mindless. You know, you've really got to think about your decisions. A couple of times I was just like, oh my god, what do I do? So despite the kind of fun theme, it's got a little bit more to it, and I really like Kapow. I'm so pleased they did well because the style of it's great, the comic book feel is good, the artwork's cool, and it's got that retro feel about it. So another one that I'm really pleased it funded. Warriors of Jogo. I haven't done anything with this yet, as in I haven't reviewed it. I feel like I need to play a few more games before maybe doing a review or preview video. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it at first. It's definitely interesting. So it's a card game. You're both playing as different factions. It's another kind of fighting game, but it's quite numerical. It almost reminded me a little bit of a kind of more streamlined and maybe sort of family friendly kind of Netrunner sort of vibe to it. And that's by Monsoon Publishing. This is kickstarting January, so hopefully by then I would have more to say on it, and I'll be passing it on to my BG colleagues. Monster Slaughter. Oh, this is a big box, this is. Monster Slaughter, I did like it. It's a good game. It was maybe a little too light for me, and that's not necessarily a bad thing for a lot of people. Again, it's a very fun theme. So the setup is that there's teenagers in an old abandoned cabin for whatever reason, we don't know, and you're playing as different monster factions like werewolves, vampires. There was a lot more monsters unlocked in the Kickstarter, and you are trying to kill as many people as possible. Kind of dice rolling, light hand management, very beautiful Kickstarter, so much gorgeous stuff with it. I really like the 3D setup of it, love the board. I think it's a really great game, but possibly not one that I would want to play personally, because it was a little bit too light, but definitely a cool game. So I wrote a review of that on my blog as well. And that's me done for this month. So I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, Lindsay. Nice job as usual. And that is coming to the end of the summary video. It's obviously Christmas time now, so the next summary video you'll see will be in the new year. So the most important thing to say is have a good Christmas and a happy new year, and enjoy the holidays. Play as many games as you can, because in the new year there's going to be tons more coming as usual. Kickstarter is going to be busy. We've got all the convention seasons coming up. It's going to be fantastic. So have a great time, guys. See you guys next year.